Good evening, or Shabbos, Thursday night. This week's Parashas Vayeitzei. And we learn here that we make choices in life. Every day we're faced with choices. And it's how we make those choices, how we react to those choices that decides who we are as a person and decides how we're going to live our life. Yaakov, in the beginning of this parasha, he falls asleep in that place. He's on his way to visit Lavan, his uncle, and he is stopped by exhaustion. He stops in the middle of the desert, puts his head down, and falls asleep. And a ladder comes down to him, and this is where we see God and the angels come down the ladder, and God's above them saying, "This is the land I'll give to you people." And Yaakov signifies that place, remembers it by calling it Bethel, changing its name, and putting a rock where he was sleeping to remember as a sign to put an offering there. Whence, on his way back to Laban's house, he passes some Easterners, and at a well. And at the well, he runs into Rachel. Rachel happens to be Laban's daughter. We see that Yaakov falls immediately for Rachel and knows from right then and there that she is his beshert. So they quickly go to Laban, asks for Rachel's, tells him who he is, asks for Rachel's hand in marriage and for service to him. In honor of service to him, he would Laban would give Yaakov Rachel's hand in marriage. Now we see here that Yaakov works for Laban 7 years. 7 years comes, and immediately he goes and rushes over to talk to Laban and ask him and say, "Give me my wife. Give me Rachel, my wife now. I did your service, and give me my wife." We see that Laban does not give him Rachel. Now, the 7 years for Yaakov went like that. It was like it was 3 days, because his love for Rachel was so strong that he was able to just pass by. He didn't have to wait. He was there. It was 7 years already happened. It was like that. Nothing happened. And we see that Laban ends up giving instead of Rachel, he gives Leah as a wife to Yaakov. Now I read in V'Simcha, in Sasson V'Simcha, it's a book in Parashas for Shir Brachos, that our forefathers, Avraham Avinu, Yaakov Avinu, and Yitzhak Avinu, when they married, it wasn't for love necessarily. It was for continuation of the Jewish people, of their heritage, their line. They knew that, and so did the wives, knew that they were part of the continuing chain of God, of the Jewish people. And they knew that they still had a purpose in just being married. And that was not it. The purpose was to create a generation, a nation. They were blessed to have this nation come under them. And so when they married, it wasn't a marriage for love necessarily. It was marriage because they were the person who was meant to bring them the children, bring more children to have them lead the nation. And we see that all the matriarchs are barren. They can't have children. And it's not until they ask for help, or when something bad happens, that Hashem opens up the womb and gives them kids. Now Leah was given kids, 4 kids, and Rachel couldn't have kids, so she gave Yaakov her maid to have kids with, maidservant. Now Rachel was Now, Rachel and Leah are both the mothers of the Jewish people, as their kids are the kids who are the tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel come from Rachel and Leah and Yaakov. Now, Leah, who gave birth to the kids, is said to have created the nation. Now, Rachel, who couldn't do that, who didn't give birth, is said to have helped raise the nation, because she was helped raise the kids that are born to her maidservant. She had raised them. So we see everybody in our lifetime has a choice to make. Yaakov could have said, once he found out that Rachel wasn't the one he married at the first time, that it was really Leah, he could decide to divorce Leah, and he didn't. He knew there was another reason why it happened. It wasn't just happened because of a chance. It happened for a reason. And Hashem's plan that this would happen. So Yaakov worked 14 years in service for his two wives. Now we see another choice we see is that Yaakov, when he it's time for him to leave his service and he goes to leave to his land, instead of telling Lavan that he's leaving, he just takes off in the middle of the night and leaves with his kids, with his wives and children. Now Rachel, who I believe took the idol worships, whatever, out of her father's house. Lavan came and found out this and searched through the camp. Rachel hid the idols underneath her so her father wouldn't find them. Another choice. Everything is a choice in our life. What we do, how we do it, it's a choice. What decisions we make. I'm a Baal Shuva. I'm very proud of it. I made a choice to give up a certain lifestyle to lead one where I follow the Torah completely. It's a choice that we all make. And a lot of you out there are watching this on Baal Shuvas also. And you all made a choice. We all made a choice in our lives to give up something that we cared about. Lavan made a choice to give up his daughters to Yaakov. Also made a choice to give up his sheep, his father's herd, to Yaakov. He eventually giving up all of his sheep because he promised Yaakov certain kind of sheep and lamb, and there was the new ones that came, and the ones that were promised to Yaakov started mating more with the other ones who was to stay with Lavan. So the new ones eventually all came out to be the ones that were going to Yaakov and none to Lavan. So it's a choice you make in our lives. Everything we do is a choice. Now, I ran into a good friend in this community, my community in Bala Cynwyd outside of Philadelphia, who this summer battled a tough case of cancer. Came out, won it, beat it, and is now doing much better, Baruch Hashem. Being around him and his presence and seeing him happy, joyous, it reminds you of why you do stuff. It reminds you of a wedding. It's a happy occasion. You're at a wedding, two people are coming together to make one. Two souls come together to make one. We can't be more happier than that. How much happier can you be than that happens? They thank God all the time when they get married because they know they found a shirt. They're now complete. And this guy, I'm not going to name names, but people know who, this community know who he is. Now, when he was in my work, he said this: what do you live for? You live for the now, right here. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. He yelled that out. He yelled out, Baruch Hashem. Now, thank God. You live for today. You live for right now. You don't look forward. You live for the moment. Because you don't know what the future is going to bring, and you can't plan for the future. All you can plan for is right now. You live your life moment by moment, second by second. It's the only way you can do it. You have to live your life in the now. You have to go through life knowing that next day could be your last. Next moment could be your last. Next second you could stop breathing. It's not a very happy thing to think about. But when you think about it, your life is so much better because you were living it to the fullest. You won't care what happened, what the repercussions are, because you know that right now you're doing what's right for you. And Yaakov, when he left Laban's house, when he left there to go to his father's house, back to his father's house, when it was time for him to leave servitude, knew that it was the right thing for him to do at that moment. That in order for him to start his future as a leader of the Jewish people, in order to start the Jewish nation, he had to leave right then and right there. Because who knows what could have happened, what Laban could have done. Laban could have taken the kids, taken the daughters, that you cannot take them, you leave, they stay here. They are my daughters, my grandkids, they're staying here with me. He could easily said that. So Yaakov did what he had to do for that moment, and that's what he did. He left without telling Laban. Comes down to choices. You have a choice to get up in the morning, to go to work, a choice to eat if you want to survive. It's your choice. Choice to work. You have a choice to get dressed in the morning. And it's something you don't have to do. But you choose to do it because it's the right thing to do for that moment. Rabbi Nachman says in the Likutei Moharan, in the first book, and the third or second lesson, that one should make his Torah knowledge, Torah study into prayers. So my prayer to you guys, my Torah that I just gave over, is that you will live in the now. You will do what's right for you at the moment. That your choices will be right choices because that's what is right for you. That no one can say that you made a wrong choice. At that moment, that's the choice you had to make. My best thing to you is that you get married. That you find your b'sheret, that you find the one who's going to make you happy. So give you the happiness that you need to get through life, make you complete. With this, I'll be living a full life, a meaningful life. Have a good weekend and a good Shabbos. See you next week. Baruch Hashem.